Okay, so this is the first time in so many years when I could say after upgrading to a new smartphone that yes, this one over here is a real upgrade, and I'm so glad to say that the smartphone that I'm talking about is the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra and not the iPhones of the world. Now, I cannot just keep myself away from stressing about so many little things which are correct about this S23 Ultra, and I am so happy to switch away from the Apple ecosystem as it does not just make a lot of sense to me right now. I want to start with the display, and with this display comes a lot of little features that make the experience on this S23 Ultra far better than my iPhone 14 Pro Max. I want to start with a large screen that is actually large and usable. I can type text on this Samsung smartphone, and that is much better than what I can use on my actual iPhone. I have been through a lot of time when I miss a lot of keywords while typing on my iPhone keyboard, and there is something different about how the keyboard works on this Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. I think it could be because of the flat display with more real estate to type, which makes the overall typing experience to be better on this Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. Now, one thing is that I can type on this keyboard very well, but the voice feature, the voice typing is not as well as on this phone in comparison to the Google Pixel 7 which I had. Now, I tested this feature multiple times, and every time I try to use this feature to type on my Galaxy S23 Ultra, it is just a big mess. So no, this thing over here is no better than the Google voice typing, as the one on this phone does not work much better and it is actually much more worse. But my iPhone does not do it either, and unlike my iPhone, the haptics, the keyboard size, and the overall experience of using the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra is way more better than the iPhone. Now, the display is more squared off, which gives extra inches, make the visual experience so much better than the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I know that the iPhone screen is much more brighter than this one, but again, there is something about this smartphone that I cannot capture. Maybe, it is because of the slightly waterfall edge design, which is not as pronounced as the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. But hey, over here it is the perfect mix and match of the flatter screen with slightly rounded off edges. And I hate saying that, but it makes me feel the right decision to switch from the Google Pixel 7. Now, talking about the second thing is the S Pen on this phone, and just because of this S Pen and because of the Samsung Dex feature, it makes me feel more like I can switch away from the Apple ecosystem. And it is a surprise that I already moved my SIM from the iPhone to the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. Now, because this phone has an S Pen feature, I did not need an iPad. So Apple ecosystem, do you need that or no? It is your choice. Now, this device in itself is so much, and there is so much practicality about it, that the Apple ecosystem does not make any sense to me. I can take calls, I can use the pen to draw and sign, I can use the Samsung Dex feature wirelessly to make use of this entire ecosystem on my own screen rather than connecting a separate laptop. So I can take this device anywhere, have a screen with me, maybe a portable screen. I can sit into cafes, I can do work on Canva, Photoshop, and every other tool that I want to use on Samsung Dex, and at the same time I have a very powerful device with S Pen and all the features loaded into this device. Now, the third thing that I want to talk about is the battery backup on the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, and this comes as a surprise because the battery backup on this Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra is actually way more better than the one that I'm getting with the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I know, or I do not know actually, in the past 2 months the battery backup on my iPhone 14 Pro Max just degraded so much, and I checked multiple times, but the battery health on my iPhone is not degraded by even a single %. It could be because my iPhone is generating way more heat and it is lagging behind in some applications. It has to do with the new architecture or something that had been changed with the recent iPhones, that the battery backup on it is not as good. And for the first time, I'm using an iPhone as my secondary device now. No matter how hard I push this smartphone, I'm not able to kill the battery backup on this Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. In fact, I charged my phone yesterday and it is still having some juice as of filming this video right now. I have seen that this Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra has a few options to control the notifications and the background activity pop-ups to deny or approve them as we are navigating through the menus, and it helps in saving the battery on this phone as well. Also remember that this smartphone comes with a 45-watt charging on this phone that tops up the phone much more faster than the iPhone. I think it takes about 1 hour and 10 or 20 minutes to fully charge this smartphone, which does not come as a surprise to me because of the 5000 mAh battery, which is quite a bigger one than the normal smartphones that we have in the market. Now on to the next thing is the fluidity on the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. Now I want to discuss it because it is fast and even more snappier than the Google Pixel 7 series. I mean, it reminds me of the Google Nexus 5 from the year 2013 I believe, and trust me, I can say that this smartphone over here is the fastest smartphone, the fastest Android smartphone of the period. I'm confident to say that the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra is the snappiest phone on the market. It is faster than any Android phone out there, period. Opening apps, the animation and everything about this smartphone is just so fast. It almost feels faster than my iPhones. A lot of times I have the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra 512GB and 12GB RAM model. I did not even need to look at the Geekbench because the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipset that is made for Galaxy right now in this year, it is optimized really well and it is fast, really fast. I'm not a gamer, but I tried a few games and no matter what I throw at it, I do not see any frame drops in any games out there. Also, this time around there is no Exynos model, but I heard that the Samsung Galaxy S24 could come with a new variant that is Exynos 1. I think Exynos 2500. It might be the one with more AI capabilities just like the Pixel smartphones, or maybe Samsung is specifically building that processor for the Google phones only. But hey, you know, we never know. But this time around, as it is just one Qualcomm model, it is a good thing, and I would say it is the best thing to do in this year when the competition is very high and not a lot of smartphones are performing as well. Now the next thing that I want to mention is the in-hand feel on the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, and I have noticed in my time with the Samsung phone that how comfortable it is. The more squared off edges and the overall design makes it perfect fit for my hand. I like the in-hand feel of this phone and it feels almost much more better than the iPhone 14 Pro Max. It could be because of the waterfall design or the edges or slightly curved design on the back with the flatter edges, which makes the overall experience to be better than the other larger phones that we have in the market. And also I wanted to mention that this Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra comes with the Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2, which means that if the smartphone falls down, the chances that it will break is much more less. But it also raises some concerns about how scratch resistant the screen is, because we have seen the same thing with the Gorilla Glass Victus 1, that it was much less scratch resistance, and it could be the same thing with this phone over here. And on to the next thing is the cameras on the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, and I can say that the cameras on this smartphone are really good. I have a few more words to say here. The photos taken from this phone are noticeably sharper, more true to the subject with more detail, and have no softness on the edges. Most of the times that we see this softness is in the case when we really zoom into the shot, but this is not the case with this Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. Also, the night mode is better. The texture even in the night shot is better as well. Even the 100x shots have more textures and more detail now in comparison to the last year Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. Now I do not have this smartphone right now to test, but I had a few shots taken in the past, and when I compared both of them, I can see that the smartphone over here, this one has noticeably sharper results in comparison to the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. Now the video is better too, both in the daylight and the low light, and you can choose between 50 megapixel and 200 megapixel shots when taking a regular shot from this smartphone, and even the 10 megapixel selfie camera is better than the last year's 40 megapixel one. Now one thing that is noticeable on this smartphone is the video stability, and as Samsung says that the optical image stabilization has been improved 2 times, that is double the time of the one that we saw with the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. This is probably the biggest change, and it allows for even better 8K shooting. I compared it with the sensor shifting technology on my iPhone 14 Pro Max, and both of them did equally good. And this is a big word to say, because generally the video shooting on the iPhone cameras is much more better, and if this thing is coming from the Samsung S23 Ultra, I'm shocked to see that how good the video stabilization is there over the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, and it is even more better than the Pixel 7 series. Over here, I would say that this one over here is the best video camera smartphone that you can buy right now in the year 2023. Now on to the last thing, and a very surprising one, is the speakers on the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. I do not speak a lot about the speakers because every time I review a smartphone, I always feel like there is nothing in comparison to the iPhones of the world, but this time this one over here is even louder, even crispier, and even better than the results that I got from this iPhone 14 Pro Max. What I use the speakers mostly is while watching some YouTube videos and while watching some podcasts, and I'm a kind of person who do not use a lot of earbuds, and I was able to spot the difference between the Samsung Galaxy S23 and my iPhone 14 Pro Max when I turned on the podcast on this mobile. So this one over here is a really better one and a real upgrade in terms of the speaker quality on the Samsung smartphones. Overall, the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra is the best smartphone I have used this period. The only annoying thing for me at least is the volume rocker buttons. It sits too high and the buttons are just too small in comparison to my Google Pixel 7. I always accidentally hit the power button, which is really annoying to me. So that was my full review about the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. I hope you liked this video and I hope you enjoyed this one. If you liked this video, do not forget to hit the like button. This was me, Anshul. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.